Everybody, very good evening to all of you. Guys, I hope that my voice is coming properly to all of you. I hope that I'm clearly audible to everybody, and as I can tell you that a session has been delayed a little bit. All right. And due to certain reasons, the session, which is the regular session that is timed regularly on 4 p.m., that has been made live on 5. So first of all, everybody join the session quickly and get settled here, because for the next 40 to 45 minutes, we are going to talk about the rise of the metal age. Okay. So in this lecture, we are going to understand that what was exactly the impact of this huge factor of change which resulted into the making up of the rural and later on the urban cultures. So first of all, let us understand the meaning of this metal age, and those who have joined the session, a very good evening to all of you. A very good evening, Aisha. Good evening, Vadalmani, Aishwarya, Sai. Very good evening to you also. All right. So first of all, before we could proceed further, let me tell you that till now we have covered up the basics of the Stone Age, and also we have covered the entire approach to our subject of history as per the descriptions given in the R.S. Sharma book. So we are primarily following that book. However, we are also inculcating the significant portions from the Tamil Nadu State Board book as well as the new NCERT. So that is going to be a really helpful venture for all of you, those who are looking forward to a single stop solution of history. Good evening, Sarvendra. Very good evening to you. Asha, I'm absolutely fine, and I hope that everybody else who is watching this session must be fine as well. Now, if I'm talking about the details, okay, so first of all, before proceeding, let me tell you that we are offering the P2I batches, and guys, remember that only the last 2 days are left before you can enroll yourself in this particular batch available in the 3 different medium, that is English, Hindi and bilingual. So do not delay it. Take all the benefits of this batch and this opportunity, because just 2 days are left. So get enrolled quickly, and let us proceed further to the major topic. Good evening, Manveer Rawat. Very good evening to you. Now, so today we are going to talk about this topic, that is Chalcolithic culture. Chalcolithic culture. Okay. So what is the meaning of Chalcolithic? The meaning of Chalcolithic. So as I told you that there are several factors of change in the history, okay, in the history. And as far as we are concerned about the factors of change, have a very important point noted down, that if I'm talking about the factors of change, there is basically one factor, okay, one factor which causes, okay, which causes the shift in, okay, the shift in the historical evolution. Okay. For example, copper will be that particular shift here in the historical evolution. And how is that exactly? How is that exactly? So basically, suppose if copper was not there, what was the most significant object utilized by the human beings to fulfill the needs of their life? That object was a stone. But after the invention of copper, the copper started replacing the stone. But remember one thing, that no technology which is newly discovered can be able to replace the old technology altogether. So copper was instant, right? It was not able instantly to replace the stone, but it was initially used as a common a common substance along with the stone to create the regular tools for the purpose of cultivation, as well as rearing, and at the same time also for the domestic uses, right? So that is why the combined use of copper plus stone, this gives the name to this particular era, the name of Chalcolithic age. Got it, everybody? So let us watch this map carefully and try to find out that which are the places where we have seen the developments of Chalcolithic culture. So those places are basically located, as you can see here, mostly located in the range of Aravalis or in the range of Vindhyas, okay, or here in the Deccan Plateau or in the southwestern parts of the country. However, after the Chalcolithic site, okay, after the Chalcolithic sites, there will be the subsequent phases of the cultural settlements, which we have called as the ochre colored pottery, or simply the OCP, OCP culture. Simply the OCP culture. All right, everyone. So we will also try to see the similarities and differences between the simple Chalcolithic age, and also at the same time we will also try to understand the differences and the qualities of the ochre colored pottery culture. Now, moving further. So first of all, if we have to understand the meaning of Chalcolithic age, as I told you, Chalcolithic means copper plus stone together. If that is being used together, that is called Chalcolithic. In India, we have got a few famous sites related to the Chalcolithic culture, right? And which are those sites, by the way? They are mainly in Madhya Pradesh, that is Kayath culture. Then Ahar in Rajasthan on the banks of Banas river. So this is also known as the Tambavati, okay, Tambavati. And then there is Malwa, Jorve, Rangpur. All these are the places of the significance as far as the Chalcolithic age is concerned. Now the important question, the most important question. What exactly is the significance of these places? Why did the places like these saw the developments of settlements, herds, etc. in this locality? I hope that you all will get an idea that if we have to understand, if we have to understand the Harappan civilization as a curve, okay, in the form of a graph, then the Harappan civilization in the form of a graph, as we can see here, just a second, all right, okay. So here, it might have initiated as, it might have initiated as a particular culture where the initial times there would have been the less development, okay, less development. But later on, what happened? As the time proceeded, suppose this is the time of, okay, this is the time of 3300 BC, and this is the extent of development. So during the time of 3300 BC, the beginning of the rural settlements and their growth to grow as the urban culture, that might have started. However, after some time, as the civilization might have declined, once again you can see the level of development that also declined. The development also declined. Okay. So here, if I am talking about, the time period of this Chalcolithic culture, so mostly the sites related to the Chalcolithic culture, they belong to this time frame of 2000 BC up to 700 BC. Okay. All these sites, they are concerned, they are related to the 2000 BC up to 700 BC. So exactly, if we try to put this time period into the time scale, into the chronological scale, then we get an idea that it was later, it was developed much later after the Harappan culture. So this is why I was trying to tell you through this graph that once the Harappan civilization declined and the people who might be living in the various cities of Harappa, they might have migrated to the different parts of the subcontinent. Some of those might have developed some interactions with the pre-living culture, that is the people of Chalcolithic. And due to their advent, what happened? these cultures might have advanced a little bit, and this is why we have been able to find out the evidences of the presence of such culture. Okay, everyone. Now, if I'm trying to tell you about the major sites and the locations of the Chalcolithic cultural places in India, so here, so several other Chalcolithic cultures to the younger age than the mature Harappan culture are not connected with the Indus Valley civilization. For example, the Malwa culture that is dated from 1700 BC to 1200 BC. Okay, so the cultures like Malwa culture, okay, that is in the region of Madhya Pradesh, particularly the Navda Toli, Iran and Nagda. Okay, these are the places in Malwa, Madhya Pradesh. So in these places also we find the examples of the Chalcolithic culture which is unrelated to the Harappan civilization. Similarly, there is a Jorwe culture. Jorwe culture is also ranging in the 1400 BC up to 700 BC, and at the same time that is also not related to the Harappan culture. Okay, everyone. Where is it present? This is present in the almost whole of the Maharashtra except the parts of the Vidarbha and Konkan region. Okay. Then apart from that, we can say that several places were there where the Chalcolithic sites used to exist independent of the Harappan civilization. Okay. So here we need to understand one thing. Why am I trying to connect the Harappan civilization repeatedly with the Chalcolithic culture? Because Harappan civilization and the Chalcolithic cultures, they represent an anomalic situation. That is an anomaly. And why that? Because Harappa civilization, despite using the bronze, the more advanced alloy of the copper and tin, despite using the bronze, it was predated. It was predated as compared to the Chalcolithic sites which were still using the copper. And the natural evolution of the human history, that tells us that copper was the earliest metal which was used, followed by the alloying of copper with the tin, that in the form of bronze, and followed by the various other metals, particularly iron, etc. So naturally we should have seen that these Chalcolithic sites, they should have been placed earlier than the Harappan civilization. But why are they not earlier? Why are they not older than the Harappan civilization? There must be some reason behind it. And the reason was that probably these cultural settlements, they were still in the Neolithic phase. That means they were still using the stone tools, etc., when the Harappan people were already using the copper. So the answer lies in the late discovery of copper in these areas. That is why the cultural development in these areas due to the use of copper, that occurred a little bit later than the Harappan civilization. I hope all of you got the clear understanding of this question, which is important for UPSC prelims as well as for the mains, that despite using the inferior metal, why were the Chalcolithic sites placed as later than the Harappan civilization sites in the chronology of history. Okay, so that is the way to understand it. Now if I am talking about, so there are various other places. For example, evidently the various types of the pre-Harappan Chalcolithic cultures promoted in the spread of farming communities in the Sindh, Balochistan, Rajasthan and elsewhere, etc. Right. So here, if I am talking about it, so we can say that several places were there in Rajasthan, also in the Sindh region, as well as in the other places that used to reside as a separate part of the culture than the Harappan civilization. Okay, so overall, what can we conclude? We can conclude that there are several places: Zorwe, Kaitha, Iran, Navda Toli. Okay, and also include these ones like the Amri, Kot Diji in the Sindh, Kalibanga and Ganeshwar in Rajasthan. All these places, they were in the form of Chalcolithic farming communities which moved out to the floodplains of Indus. Okay, everyone. Maheshwar ji, very good evening to you. Now, if I'm talking about the places of Chalcolithic culture in the Mid-Gangetic Valley, those who do not understand the meaning of Mid-Gangetic Valley, kindly look at this particular map. You will get the clear idea. This place from where the eastern Uttar Pradesh starts and the place up to the major portions of Bihar, these areas are called as the Mid-Gangetic Valley. They are called as Mid-Gangetic Valley. Okay. Now, if we are talking about the Mid-Gangetic Valley, so the development of the Chalcolithic sites in the Mid-Gangetic Valley, that is only 138 sites have been located. Okay, only 138 sites of the Chalcolithic culture that have been located. Whereas if we compare the southern part, that is the peninsular India, as many as 854 Neolithic sites found in the South India. Okay. So Chalcolithic sites only 138 in the Mid-Gangetic plains, whereas the Neolithic sites, that is 854 in southern India, which indicates the suitability of the southern India for the non-metallic cultural growth, whereas the Mid-Gangetic plains, that was more conducive to the development of the metal-based civilizations or metal-based culture. In fact, the people largely lived on the agriculture. Chalcolithic settlements seem to have been confined to the river junctions and upland areas near the hills. What does it mean? It means that despite being dependent upon the agriculture, they were still not able to produce enough grains by going farther from the areas of river junctions or from the areas of the foothills where sufficient rainfall was occurring. Okay, everyone? So that means we can say that still their agricultural technologies were quite primitive. Okay, so this statement can be asked in the form of a question. The question might be like that. For example, suppose there is a statement-based question where the first statement is that the Chalcolithic sites in India, okay, Chalcolithic sites in India are older than the bronze culture, right? Bronze culture. Okay. Second statement will be like the agricultural growth in Mid-Gangetic Chalcolithic sites was very high, and the third statement will be like that the Mid-Gangetic farmers moved away from the river junctions, okay, during Chalcolithic age. So if this is the question having three different statements, now you have to choose that how many statements, okay, how many statements among them are incorrect. How many of the statements are incorrect? Okay, so kindly read the statements once again carefully, everyone. Sarvendra, Aisha, Sanskari, Maheshwar, everyone, and Aishwarya, everybody. So statements are like that: Chalcolithic sites in India are older than the bronze culture sites. The first statement. Is it correct or incorrect, everyone? Kindly tell the right answer. Is it correct or incorrect? So I hope that this statement you all might be able to understand that Chalcolithic sites in India, they are not older than the bronze cultural sites in India. That is why this statement is incorrect. This is incorrect. Second statement is that the agricultural growth in the mid-Gangetic Chalcolithic site was very high. Okay. So second statement, that is also incorrect, because agricultural growth in the Chalcolithic age, that was not very high, that was not very significant. That is again incorrect. Okay. Third statement is that mid-Gangetic farmers, they moved away from the river junctions during the Chalcolithic age. Again, the third statement is also not correct, because the Chalcolithic farmers, they did not move away from the river junctions, away from the hill, foothills area, because they were still in the phase of initial developments of their agricultural practices. And this is the type of question that we can expect from this particular topic. Even though this topic has not resulted into too many questions, but still, if there is a question which could be asked, this is the way that the question is going to be asked. Now, the right answer is that all the three statements. How many? All the three statements, right? All three statements are incorrect. Okay. So that is the answer. That is the answer. Got it? Now moving further, let us understand the importance of the Chalcolithic phase. Okay. So why is the Chalcolithic phase considered significant? So first of all, if I am talking about the Chalcolithic phase, so listen, right. Barring the alluvial plains and the thickly forested area, the traces of Chalcolithic culture have been discovered almost everywhere. Okay. Which means that it provides us about probably the first widespread settlements of the human population in our cultural history. Okay. During this time period, most of the population used to live in the river confluences, or near the river confluences, or near the lakes, etc. Right. At the same time, the people mostly founded the rural settlements not very far away from the hilly regions, as well as the river junctions. So river junctions and hilly areas were both important, very, very important for the initial most settlements in the Chalcolithic culture. Got it, everyone? Apart from that, they used the microliths and other stone tools supplemented by some copper tools also, as most of them knew the art of copper smelting. Okay. That means what? That means they were using both copper as well as the stone, as I discussed earlier itself. However, the one important thing that most of them, they have discovered about the art of copper smelting. Now, the copper smelting, that proved very effective to develop later on in the form of metallurgical sciences, and eventually led to the creation of the bronze and further developments of the civilization. All right, everybody. So some of the communities, in fact all the Chalcolithic communities, they used the wheel-turned black and red potteries. Okay. So they were actually in the pre-bronze phase of development, that still they were the first to use the painted pottery. Okay. So that could be one statement which is important for your examination. Remember and underline this statement, that they were the first to use the painted pottery. Okay. This is very, very important. Then their pots were meant for cooking, eating, drinking and storage, and they used both lota as well as thali. The conventional Indian utensils of lota and thali, they were used by the people of Chalcolithic culture. Now, why am I giving you this picture from the book itself, this page of from the book itself? Because from this particular topic, you may expect some trivial type of factual data, trivial type of statements, which can give you a little bit of stress. So that is why it is very, very important to read the complete statements. Okay. Now, apart from that, okay, so the Neolithic, right, the Neolithic impassibility that completely faded into Chalcolithic, and so these cultures are called as the Neolithic Chalcolithic. So here, if we are supposed to say that there is a statement which states that the Neolithic features completely disappeared in the Chalcolithic phase, that statement will become incorrect. Remember the point. Okay. So whenever there is a statement that tells us the complete dissociation of the previous phase with the upcoming or the concerned phase, then such statements are often wrong because no previous time is completely disconnected from the present time. Getting the point here? I hope so. Now, in other parts, especially in the western Maharashtra and Rajasthan, the Chalcolithic people seem to have been colonizers. Okay, their earliest settlements were in Malwa and central India, such as those in Kaitha and Aran, and those in the western Maharashtra were established later on. So that means R.S. Sharma is telling us that probably the pre-Harappan as well as the post-Harappan settlements, they were established due to the regulated migration or due to the colonization by the people of one place to the other place. This is what this statement is trying to say. Okay. Now, so after that, the copper hoards and ochre colored pottery phase. As I told you that there are several other places apart from the conventional Chalcolithic sites present in the Malwa region or southwestern regions of the country. These are called as the copper hoard culture, copper hoards culture, or ochre colored pottery culture. Okay. So here, over 80 copper hoards consisting of the rings, set, hashes, swords, harpoons, spearheads, human-like figures that has been found in a wide area ranging from the West Bengal and Odisha in the east and Gujarat and Haryana in the west. So if you are supposed to see the map of India, so right, I am just trying to give you geometrical location here, right? So here you can see starting from the east part, that is the West Bengal and Odisha, up to the Gujarat region. In the entire central India, you are able to see the presence of the hoards of copper utensils, copper cells, copper hashes, copper swords, etc., etc. And the similar type of hoards of copper, similar type of weapons made from copper, similar type of the utensils and tools, etc., made from copper, that have been recovered from the place called as Sinoli in Uttar Pradesh as well. The historians and the archaeologists, they are trying to put up a date of approximately 2000 to 1700 BC to the cultural excavations which have occurred at Sinoli in Uttar Pradesh. Okay, everybody. So try to correlate all these things so that it becomes understandable quite easily. Now, if I am talking about the largest hoard that comes from the place called as the Gungeria in Madhya Pradesh, comprising of 424 copper tools and weapons and 102 thin sheets of the silver objects. Okay, so remember these names, these are important for your factual details. Gungeria is in Madhya Pradesh, then Gangeria, right? Then however, a substantial number of copper hoards are also concentrated in the Ganga Yamuna Doab. In other areas, for example, there are harpoons, antenna swords and anthropomorphic figures, and similar type of antenna swords, similar type of harpoons for the fishing purpose, similar type of the anthropomorphic figures, they are all recovered from the place called Sinoli, as I told you, that is present in Uttar Pradesh only. Apart from that, they were meant for not only for fishing, hunting and fighting, but also for the artisanal and agricultural uses. They presuppose the high technological skill and knowledge on the part of the coppersmith and cannot have been the handiwork of the primitive nomad artisans. Remember, the tools are so much sophisticated, so much good looking that it appears that the people of the Chalcolithic culture, people from the copper hoard culture, they must have been quite sophisticated, civilized and great artisans to have made such type of tools which were splendid. What does this tell? If there is a question which states that the people of the copper hoard culture they were not as civilized as the people of other Chalcolithic sites in the southwestern India, then this statement that will become a wrong statement. That will become a wrong statement. All right, everybody. Apart from that, some of the objects have been discovered in the association with the ochre colored pottery and some mud structures as well. So there are certain places where the copper hoards have been discovered along with the ochre colored pottery, and this is what makes them as the OCP culture or the ochre colored pottery culture. So how many different cultures are there related to the use of the copper? The first one is called the Chalcolithic culture in the western and southwestern parts of the country. The second one is called as the copper hoard culture, primarily ranging from the Bengal, Odisha up to Gujarat region in the entire central part of the country. Third one is called as the ochre colored pottery or the OCP culture, which is primarily evident in the Gangetic Valley, in the Gangetic regions. So these three are the different types of the Chalcolithic cultures found in our country. Now, if I'm talking about the features of the Chalcolithic culture, some common features. So they were discovered, the copper was discovered and combined with the microlithic tools. Then potter's wheel was known by this time. Trade and commerce that had already started during this period. Animal rearing, that was common practice by this time. Agriculture developed further and barley became the major crop. However, the agriculture was primarily slash and burn agriculture. And the artifacts found included the semi-precious stone beads, terracotta, pottery, right, ivory, etc., etc. So these are the common features that you can conclude. Similarly, there were a few limitations of Chalcolithic culture as well. When the writer R.S. Sharma says that the people were quite well developed, they had the deeper understanding of the metallurgy, they used to make the good looking and in fact very sustainable artifacts, then why did they not develop? Why could they not develop as much as the people of Harappan civilization? The reason behind that. So there were the few reasons. They did not know about writing. We have not recovered anything which could be equated with the handwriting or the symbols or the written representation of the languages. Nothing was that. Agriculture was not much advanced. Slash and burn agriculture dominated, and that was also limited to the nearby places of the river junctions, of the foothill regions, such areas. They were not ready to expand their agricultural operations to the different places. Trade and commerce, that was not very well developed, therefore the culture was primarily rural. See, for the purpose of trade and commerce, we need to have something extra. We need to have the production surplus. For the purpose of production surplus, we need to develop some technology. We need to have the fertile soil. We need to have the advanced agricultural practices. But none of them were present in the Chalcolithic sites, due to which they could not advance their agriculture and due to which no production surplus was obtained, and that's why no trade and commerce, no significant trade and commerce could develop. Okay, so apart from the some here and there barter, we could not expect the development of the trade and commerce on a large scale, as was the case with Harappa. Although they knew the copper, no bronze artifacts are found. That means the bronze that was unknown to them. Bronze was unknown to them, which clearly indicates that their chances to grow and evolve, they were limited by the mere presence of copper and the absence of the bronze making technology in their settlements. Got it, everyone? So I hope that this entire lecture must have given a clarity about the Chalcolithic cultural places in India, their significances as well as their limitations. Now remember one thing, tomorrow is going to be the most important day, because tomorrow we are going to start the Harappan civilization, and like never before, as you might not have studied it before, we would be trying to unearth several new details about the Harappan civilization, and we will also try to correlate it with the current development, current way of thoughts about the Harappan civilization, and many more things. But before ending the session, I would like to tell all of you once again that guys, last 2 days are left. Don't forget, 12th July is the last date to enroll yourself, and be very quick because the time is moving very fast. We don't have much time left for 2024 preparations beginning. So that's why go and join these batches as quick as possible. So thank you so much for watching the session, guys. I hope that you are on my Telegram channel. If you are not there, you can scan this QR code to join my Telegram channel, or you can also join me on this particular link. So thank you so much for watching it. Take care, guys. Bye-bye and have a great day ahead. Thank you so much and Jai Hind.